to Project Die Hard Monday Mission Update. We are here on Mission Monday updates. I even said it backwards. Mission Monday update. We are here every Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and we are here to give you all the updates, all the news, all the latest and greatest of what is going on with Project Die Hard. We, as always, are so privileged to have the founder and president here with us tonight. Brian Gibson will start us off with all the latest news on his end, and we are looking forward to this evening. So, Brian, happy to have you here, and welcome on in. What is happening today?
Well, hello. Well, today, you mean last week?
Last week.
It's been a busy week. We got some good news, but really not good news that I got to brief out today. And I really hate doing this, but people know the mission and that we work off the blessings we receive. And with the leadership team and advice of the whole team, we've had to make a decision. So I'm going to share a screen and we're going to talk about this. There it is. Bam. Effective March 1st, all Pdh outreach programs are going to be suspended. Now, this is not canceled, folks. This is suspended. It is with a heavy heart this decision has to be made. But being a good steward and having good advice, we have to concentrate on the main building at Forward Operating Base Rush. That has to get completed. So, until resources are met within funding and volunteers, we have to suspend them. Now, we're still going to go on with our February one. We did our first on Saturday. We had a total of 3 veterans that came to Forward Operating Base Rush, got a free meal, some fellowship, and our Paducah Fellowship breakfast will be on Wednesday, the 7th. I get to break the bad news to those folks. Yeah, that's the bad news. I mean, well, it's not good or bad. It's just the facts. Do you want to speak to that at all, Sue? I mean,
Sure. Yeah, because when I heard that, that this is where we are, that right away, my first instinct is, oh no, this is it's sad because it means a lot to the guys and gals who are coming to have that time of fellowship and to have an event to look forward to each month. That is something that means a great deal, and that has to take a pause is not something to take lightly. That's a big deal. So priorities need to be made. There's no way around it that there's business decisions that need to take place, because although you don't want to think about this as a business, you have to take it in that sense of we have to work in a way that is smart and good stewards of the money that is available or lack thereof. And in order for the mission as a whole to move forward in the way that it needs to move forward, you're right. The building needs to open. The building, that is a piece that has to happen, because that opens doors to other funding sources. Taking that priority to get that step in place will help on multiple levels, right? It'll help on the funding level. It also will help on that practical side of being able to start bringing folks in that can stay at the base there. So there's multiple pieces to go with that. In the short term, it's to me, I consider this to be a really sad moment that we are at a point where we have to take a moment, and it feels like a step backwards, right? Take a step back and reevaluate the reevaluations happened, had to reevaluate where we are as or as an organization in order to make the big goal happen. We have to sometimes take a step backwards, and
Yeah.
that's okay. It's not desired, it's not what we want, but it has to be okay because bigger picture in mind here at the moment, right?
Yeah. We started the fellowship breakfast. I mean, right off the get go when we started back in 2018. To me, this is like deja vu because come 2020, we had to close it down due to other reasons. And we made it back in, and then January 2023, we kicked it back off. And it's growing, when we did the numbers, and this is what really broke my heart. January 2023 to January 2024, 483 veterans got fellowship and a free meal.
That is a massive number. I bet most people listening to this would not know that many veterans were impacted and benefited by this.
A simple breakfast.
A simple breakfast. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, on average, 30, 32 a month would show up, and we have our regulars and new ones come in, and the VA rep is there, some other reps are there. This is, a very small snippet of the overall mission to bring hope to veterans. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, looks like Tim's hopping in. Well, are you ready, Tim? Give a thumbs up if you're ready to come in. He's still walking around.
It's all good. Yeah, he may have to get to where he's got better reception or that he can hear us well. So yeah, Tim, give us a thumbs up when you're ready to go on the screen there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
this whole sorry, go ahead.
All right. It's that. It's the little things we do to help my brothers and sisters, the veterans. I mean, people just don't understand what it takes to do this. Okay. I'm going to bring that back up again because this is something. Okay. In fact, I'm going to. No, what do I want to do? I want to do that one. Okay. That one's even better. Okay. It says right there, join the team. Right? How do you join the team? Start out, volunteer at projectdiehard.org. That's one way you can help. Right? Step up. Whether you're here in Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois, or anywhere in the nation, your help is needed because it's needed. But if you know of somebody in our location that need something to do one day a month, have them reach out. That helps the team overall cover events, because I do my best to be at every event Project Die Hard holds, but I'm only one dude.
This is too big for one person. This takes a team.
Yeah. Scan the code. Any amount you give every month, it goes to support these programs, these outreach programs. It goes to do everything that we do. It doesn't go to wallets. It doesn't go to big trips. It doesn't go to, all that other stuff you read about. That's just, yeah. I mean, you sit in weekly meetings with the rest of the team. Tell people what's the biggest thing we talk about.
We need people. We need the resources. We need the help to make this mission reach its goals. And what is that? We're talking about helping veterans. That's the end goal here, is to help and to give hope to veterans. It's pretty straightforward, right? There's so many ways to do that. I think if somebody was to hear that statement, just, if they're listening into this and don't understand what this is and what's going on here, just to have a lofty comment of giving hope to veterans, like, what does that mean? Why is this important? Why do we need this? It's important because of so many reasons, but one of the main ones is the horrible problem that does exist, that suicide is such a big factor in the veteran population, and the resources are needed for our vets to be able to do what they need to do in life. And sometimes we don't know where to turn, right? Sometimes everybody needs help at different times, and what that looks like for each person is going to be different. But that's where Project Die Hard comes in. We have so many different people, so many different organizations and partnerships there. The network is growing as far as who knows about Project Die Hard and who can provide different resources for this organization. And that's something we need more of. We need to continue to grow in that. So if you are a resource, if you are somebody who has connections, what ideas do you have? This doesn't come from a single person. I mean, this started with a single person, right? It started with you, Brian. But for where it's grown, it takes more than one person to make this big of an impact. And there's a good team in place. There's a leadership group within this organization. There's an ambassador group. We're right here putting out this podcast to share information. We need to get the word out of what's going on and why this need exists and what can you do? Because that, I think, is going to be the big piece here is for, as you're listening to this, think to yourself, what can I do? And realize that what you can do, whether it's big, small, whatever you think is big or small, whatever you can do will make a difference. Your time, talent, your prayer, what is it for you that will make that impact?
That overall question, bring veterans hope. You're right. What is that? What do you think it is? That's what I'm asking people. Whatever you can imagine that could bring a veteran hope. We want to do that. We do. So yeah, reach out to us. You got an idea? We want to hear them. I'm going to reiterate. Look, God will never leave this mission. We will never use the suffering of veterans to grow this mission. And there's no drugs, No alcohol allowed within this mission. If you can work within those parameters, Sue knows them because I think I count them out in every meeting, just as a friendly reminder. If you can work within those parameters, reach out to Sue, reach out to Kurt, reach out to contact at projectdiehard.org, volunteer at projectdiehard.org, and we'll fit you into the team. We'll fit you into the team. That's just, that's what it's going to take, folks. Everybody roll in here. Uh, hashtag pray, hashtag share, hashtag volunteer, hashtag donate at Project Diehard. Yeah, yeah, folks. Our marketing team is really great at that. They say, "Hey, this is the hashtags we need, and this is the hashtags we're going to use," and then that goes up and down and around. And if you see Sue's post about Project Die Hard, you'll probably see that there. If you see Kurt's post about Project Die Hard, you'll probably see that there. That's part of this team with how they bring their help. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how people help.
Well, and current status for the building itself and the grounds for forward operating base Rush. So the doors are open, and groups are able to come in and utilize that facility. So that's a major hurdle that you've already achieved.
That we have achieved.
Yes.
Yes, November 28th, we did the soft opening. We are there, right? 3 veterans already came and got a free meal and fellowship. In my eyes, that was a complete mission success.
That's huge.
That's huge. But you're right. I'm just the founder. I got smarter people around me, folks.
Well, and here's a question for you. When is the next time where people can come and be on site there and help?
That would be February 10th. Because that is one thing we're not suspending. Okay? That's our give back day. Come. Bring your muck boots. Bring your gloves. Right?
Bring your friends.
Bring your friends. Come. 189 Haven of Love Drive, Makanda, Illinois. Coffee and donuts start at 8 o'clock. Right? Let us know you're coming so we can provide lunch. If you're going to work, I'm going to feed you. The bean counters are going to hate me, but it's going to have to happen. But
and what is the next things that are happening at the building there?
Right now, we are updating the back 2 rooms. We've already started demo. Those 2 rooms will house, well, I can't say that right now because they will provide 12 places for our volunteers to lay their heads when they come down for a week. Right now. When the rest of the building is done, it will provide 12 single veterans with a bed for up to a year.
That's huge.
Yeah, But again, that's right now, that's where all of our resources has to go, because you're right. You said it earlier. Once we get residents in the building, 12 single veterans and 2 veterans with their families, funding sources become available to us. And we don't have to do things like this and cancel stuff. Because you guys know how much I hate canceling events.
That's not the fun part. We want it to be the fun part. We like to have all these good things continuing because because that's what
Yeah,
makes a difference here.
yeah. Look, folks, look. You can ask my team. When they say, hell, it's going to rain, do I say we're going to cancel because of rain? No. It's going to be a blizzard. And it's going to be 120 degrees. And when we hold an event, that event goes off because it could be that one time that veteran is going, I'm going to hang on just a little bit more so I can make it to that event.
Something to look forward to. We all need things to look forward to. That, in my mind, in the simplest sense, that is hope.
That is hope. Okay. Uh, I see a shadow. Let's just boom.
Hey, Tim.
Tim, are you there?
Hi. Let's see video.
We
Can
see
you hear
like a
me?
shadow. There you go. You can just do that. Have you been listening to the show and hearing us?
Yeah, it sounds great. Um, keep on. We need to treat our veterans better than we treat our citizens, or at least equal. Yeah. Congratulations on opening what you've done so far. Really.
Oh, again, brother, it wasn't me. It was my team. We did this. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but having to cancel our outreach programs really breaks my heart.
Well, sometimes you have to regroup and focus, which is I think what you're doing. It makes sense. You know, it's okay. Yeah.
Tim, do you want to introduce yourself a little here? Sure. Just who are you and how do we know you? Because we've known you for a long time.
Well, it seems like it. It's been like 3 years or 5 years going on. Who knows? And then it's like as soon as the COVID came, it seems like we all kind of got on Zoom right away. So yeah, we're. I guess my life has just gotten a lot better, and I kind of hope that for the veterans too, right? Because I think that my life needed some help, and I think when we work together, we get there faster. I've always believed that. I've always believed that people sticking together and not quitting, at least not quitting, they'll finally find a way to get. If they have a goal, they will accomplish the goal. So yeah, and for me, I've tried to become a helper for people trying to start their own business. So maybe somewhere along the line I can help the project with that aspect. Getting veterans into businesses.
Again, brother, any help from my brothers and sisters is a blessing, right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of my brothers and sisters, they contact me and they go, oh, I want to start a business. And I go, okay. Uh, I have No idea how to do that. I started a nonprofit not knowing what I was doing, but I've learned. But yeah, I mean, that again, folks, this is Tim stepping up to the mission. He's bringing hope to veterans. That's how he brings hope. How are you going to bring hope? That's my question. What are you going to bring to this mission to help?
And you know what the simple part of this too is? Tim found out because we told him. You talk about the mission with your friends, with the people that you know. Talk about it on Facebook. What way can you get the word out? That's we've got all these Monday updates that we're doing. So the videos exist. We can share those out and let people know in a very simple way what's going on.
Yeah, we have Instagram, Facebook. Oh, our YouTube channel, the Project Die Hard YouTube channel. This drops there every week. So you can go back and look at all the past weeks that we have done. And you can watch the ebbs and flow of the mission.
And if you subscribe to that, you'll get notified when a new episode is coming out. So you don't even have to remember, like, oh yeah, it's Monday. Subscribe and that get an alert. So you'd be like, oh, they're on. Let's listen in.
Okay. How about this? How about this? Marketing and social media people from the teams, right? They told me this little thing, and I think it's true. If we get 1,000 subscribers,
Mm-hmm.
1,000 subscribers, YouTube will pay us.
Yeah, I think your mile markers are, you got it, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of playtime. So you can actually see how much of your videos have been watched. You can see they track it to the second, how many listening hours there has been, or whatever the term is. I don't remember exactly how they call it, but that's what we need. We need to share this out because automatically, just by doing something as simple as that, listening to these shows and getting more subscribers that way, that will funnel money back to the mission. Oh my gosh, how easy is that?
And you're already on YouTube anyway. I know you are.
You're on there anyway. It is the easiest way you could help this out. There's a button on there that says subscribe. Click it. It's a simple thing. I'm kind of making light here, but no, really that does make a difference.
Okay, so that was the bad news. Okay, I think we beat it up, folks. We need some help. So, but now I like to bring up issues within the community of my brothers and sisters, right? Well, this is something that has weighed on my heart because I hear stories of this all the time. And I am going to, yep, I love sharing screens. Boom. All right. We are faith based and scripture led. I make no bones about it. But with talking with my brothers and sisters, we call this little thing called church hurt. And that's where people of the kingdom who claim that they're Christians, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, but well, no, look. some of you've seen the post, some of you've seen my team knows I'm going through a little bit of an issue here at the house. Right? Going on 6 years. Everything I do for this mission has affected my family, my wife especially. And we had to take a little break, and I had to go to the fob anyway. But I took an invite to a church to attend service. Great service, great people. They invited me back for a dinner and prayer meeting. And this is what hurts me. And I won't drop the name, so don't bother asking. We love your mission. We believe it's just. We believe it's true. But when your marriage is fixed, we will think about helping you. What is wrong with that? A lot. So, I'm not going to sit here and beat it up, but I already got 2. I'm putting a call out to all of leaders of missionary work, he's not ready yet. I'm putting it out to the leaders of the church. My voice at projectdiehard.org. I'm putting a panel together in something like this format to answer this question. What can be done to stop veterans being church hurt? So I will stop sharing. We will bring Kurt on. Hey, here he is. He's back from another mother. It's the Kurt.
Hello, everybody.
Doing good. I know you've been watching the show, and you were in the meeting this morning, so you know all the issues, right?
Yep.
We got having to suspend the programs and the church hurt issue. I got to get going, folks. We're about halfway through, but I am going to turn this over to my ambassadors because they know everything that needs to be done. And I will see you all next week, hopefully with better news. And that was just a hoax. We got everything we need to do it now. But with that, I thank you all for your time and your attention. And Die Hard 6 out.
Awesome. Brian, we can't thank you enough for all that you're doing. I don't know if people even can comprehend the amount of time and effort that you put in with all of the things related to Project Die Hard. You really give your all to this. And I can only ask and hope that others will give a fraction of what you are giving and can participate, like we had talked about before, on whatever level they can. It makes a difference. Something as, I'm not going to call it small, but something as simple as praying for the mission, or take it a step up, volunteer your time, take it another step. You have that email that you just mentioned about my voice at projectdiehard.org. Use that. We are taking in people's own voice, my voice, right? What are your words? What are your words of hope? What can you say that we can share? Very simple. We can schedule something with you to record a message of hope for veterans, and we can use that to help grow the mission, help share hope. So, Kurt, I know you're coming on in here. I want to give you the mic for a moment here so you can say hi and share what's on your mind.
All right. Thanks, Sue. Well, first of all, I want to thank Tim for joining in. I talked to him about an hour and a half ago, and he was very agreeable to come on in and be of service to veterans in this way with this production and understanding quite a bit about what Project Die Hard does do in this mission. And I heard, our president, Brian Gibson, bring up the topic of, veterans being, church hurt. So yeah, being in that, meeting of our team here, our podcast team this morning, you, Sue, and me on with Brian. And then he said that, you, Sue, you were like, what? It was like, I didn't catch that. What was that? What's that term? A new term. Mm-hmm. So here we are at this point in life, and Brian teaches us about this dynamic, this experience that a veteran can have. It's church hurt. That's not, something where the name doesn't specify that it's just for veterans, but even that there's a thing. I mean, I haven't heard about this in any circles, much less veterans. And then to think that there's any circumstance in which we, find a way to have any veteran in our midst, think lesser of themselves because of what we say, or maybe that doesn't end up happening, but that could happen, to kind of have some dynamic where we are positioning a veteran to be in a lesser role in our engagement, just because of our concerns about that vet, outside of, what they did to, deserve it, or that it's a reaction that's out of place, because to me, that's why the term church hurt exists, because it's an advocacy to say that veterans are trying to play a role at their church and just be themselves in church. And then here to have any church leader, any, fellow person in the congregation, kind of make, some dynamic where that veteran has a tougher time to participate, or in cases like Brian was describing, to us earlier today, that, a veteran can kind of be given a condition, that it doesn't really equate to, any effect on other, members of the congregation or anything. It's just really, a leader or a person kind of saying, you're not meeting up to my standard. You're not doing in your life what I need you to do. So they say what they say, but to me, it's kind of like telling that person, just go away until you suit, my pleasure, and it's just kind of like, in a faith community, this is amazing, because in my faith journey, I subscribe to faith experiences where it's about our creator. It's about our source, our heavenly Father, all of this, that's why we all congregate. That's why we gather. When two or more gather in his name, is to me the concept. And to me, it's like, especially when that's a veteran. I mean, when we look at our ability to celebrate whatever faith tradition we subscribe to, and look at the role historically that veterans played in this capacity to pray and to, declare and decree our creed, our country works regardless of race, creed, color, and so forth, right? So now to have it be that it's almost like we needed to write in the Constitution, to, to kind of, put that veterans have an equal place in our country. So to me, I entered today just absolutely mind-boggled that here on this show, Mission Monday, excuse me. So on Mission Monday, we have to, bring this narrative forward and to stimulate this dialogue. What do Americans think? What do people around the world think about servicemen and women and this place in faith space? So where do you want to go from here, Sue?
Well, actually, I'm wondering if Tim has any thoughts to share with regard to that, because is this something that you've heard of? Are you familiar with this? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a good start. I do understand, and I'm wondering if our audience could understand this better. And what can I say to bring the audience into this discussion so that we all understand what we're talking about? Um, I find this with social service organizations and maybe governmental organizations and the church, that sometimes we blame the victim, um, and we say to the victim, in this case a veteran, let's say he's a victim, we say, well, if you subscribe to God and Jesus and all the commandments of our religious organization, then we will help you. We will help you when we feel that you. So you have to think like a service member, like a military service member. He's he's followed all the rules of the military, and his country, and now the church says to him, well, we have a whole new set of church rules we need you to sign off on. And after all the military rules and all the church rules, then we will consider helping you. And to me, it's the first job of the church to help the military personnel. It's not the last job of the church. And again, I repeat, what we're doing is we're blaming the victim. We're saying, you, the military member, it's your fault what happened to you. It must be your fault because it happened to you and you let it happen to you. It's kind of the 1950s all over again. It's kind of like, you got hurt. Well, why did you get hurt? You must have deserved it. And I think when Brian says that, I'm not confused as to what he means. What he's saying is, we've done our duty for church, for government, and for God, and for everything. We've been in the military. We've defended the kingdom, and now the kingdom says you're not worthy anymore. And the irony is, we're a government of God. In God we trust. But then when we go to the church says, oh, by the way, you have to prove that you're worthy to God. See, you've defended the kingdom. Now the kingdom wants to see if you're worthy of its help. It's kind of, I think, I can't paraphrase what Brian said because he said it his way, but it's kind of, it just doesn't make sense. So when he says church hurt, he's like, I think the military man goes to the church and he's hurt again, one more time. He's the victim and he's looking for help. And the church says to him, well, wait a minute. Why do you think you deserve God's help? So that's kind of how I see. It's very meaningful. It's not easy to understand, but it's reflective. It's editorial, but I get it. I get it. I think if Brian was here, and unfortunately he's not, but yeah, it's blaming the victim all over again. He's hurt, and now you're going to blame him for his hurt instead of doing the easy thing, which is to help him. I'm trying to think of a modern example that we do this in other parts of society. Like, to open up this discussion a little bit, like, we still do this. We still blame the victim. like caregiving. We do this to people that need care. We do this to women that suffer rape. We blame them. We do this. So, and I'm not saying the church does it in every instance, but I think Brian has a point, and I think it's a good discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I agree. It is a good discussion, because when you go looking for help somewhere, wherever that may be, in this case, there was a relevant recent example where it happened to be with the church. I think people struggle. I mean, I often think it has to do with comfortability. If somebody comes to you, even if it's a friend that's coming and they bring something to you that you're just not prepared for, you're not sure what to do with. It very well could be something along those lines, because we're all human, and we get different challenges that come our way, and everybody's life experience is different. So sometimes I wonder how much of that is just our own personal limitations of, okay, somebody came to me with something, I'm not prepared to handle this or do necessarily the thing that they need. I need to think beyond myself at that moment, which is hard to do, right? You want to be able to be what they need, or I don't know. So it's a hard question, right? If I don't have the answers, if I can't provide the help for whatever that person needs, I would hope I have it within myself to help come up with resources, or somebody else that maybe would be a better fit to address whatever this person would be bringing to me. So like in that example where somebody went to the church, and whatever that church was, and was basically kind of given a bit of a wall, I guess, because when you're coming with one thing and then you get a reply back of, well, I'll help you there with this after you do this. Well, you just kind of made that conditional now. I didn't know help was conditional. Help is help. If you're coming forward and saying, I need help, that alone needs to be respected. And perhaps, again, the person that made that conditional, they've got their own limitations in life, and perhaps was doing the best they could and was just not prepared to be able to help in the way that the person needed or was hoping for, right? So we all have to help each other out. I know you had commented, Tim, earlier about how teamwork makes things so much better, and the number of times that Brian has said that as well. Teamwork makes the dream work. That is, in my mind, just a bottom line truth that is true. It is, when you have more than one person on a mission, on task to do something, the bigger the team, the more effective you can be, and the more broad you can be in what's being accomplished. So, Kurt, I want to just see what thoughts you have here to add to this.
Yeah, so I've said before on this show, that to me, these conversations really get down to our culture, our customs, our genetic memories, and it's just this force that is just carried forward that is not favorable in the way that it ought to be for our entire veteran community. And so it's something that gets talked at and around, and then a nonprofit like this has quite an insurmountable task to bring its following through this issue to kind of act in this need of a viral catch to this. This needs to spread like the coronavirus did in 2020. This needs to catch on and make its way into every household across the land and around the world. And we just really need to get this communal conversation going to really enter into the space of ethics. I'd like to call out to all professors that, teach ethics, or in high schools, or wherever ethics is taught, in professional circles. Anybody touching this concept of ethics, or anybody that could touch it, with what they do, because to me, this is kind of where we've gotten to, is that the decades of past have proven that kind of just going on and being soft-hearted and good-natured and trying to be a do-gooder and trying to volunteer and serve. And for all of our donors out there, we're collecting all of this goodness. And, the evidence, the actuarial scientists, can get on this and say that under the present state of affairs, there's nothing that, can get us to where we're expecting a decline in veteran suicide ideation and losing, veterans to suicide, and looking at the, perverted inequity, the, kind of looking at that statistic where about, something north of half of our suicides are from the veteran community. And yet the veteran, portion of the population is, I believe, like single digit percentages. I forget if it's like 8 or 9%, or if it's even that, it might be 6%. I have to revisit the statistic, but, we need to speak to that because, it's upside down in terms of what's happening to the vets. And I talked to Brian earlier that, we're not going to cover it on this show, but I like how we're addressing, the faith community. And then in terms of finances, the work of this nonprofit, and in all the time that Brian and the team has worked on this mission, it's very tough to also get an upward, response to this mission, financially. So to me, that there's something about, doing this show and other communications, things in news or what the VA is doing or so forth. There's just something that is stifling the potential. Like in the USA, hundreds of millions of people, kind of what do we need to do to kind of reboot this country, and for other nations around the world to think of this too and join this in a global effort to just really bring it to ethical consideration that we need to give veterans our priority. Because let's face it, the instigator is war. Like, we have a conflict going on the other side of the world, but it's affecting all of us around the planet. And so there's definitely soldiers that are at risk, and, things that they're going through that they should never have to go through because of our state as humankind. So to me, a fundamental rule of the world needs to be that those that we're putting out in front of what we don't want to deal with, I've said that before too, I never subscribed or had any energy to enter the military direction because I'm one of the world's biggest scaredy cats. I'm afraid of the dark, afraid of heights, I'm claustrophobic. I'm just not a good candidate, for serving our country in this way. So it's like, for those that actually do put themselves out there, put their lives on the line, disrupting their family situation, that a family could lose a family member because of our inability to keep peace on earth and, extinguishing conflict, in our world. We got to give it up, to our servicemen and women. Like, we should, paramount to worship the ground they walk on type of thing, for doing what we never did, probably never thought to do. And, they did it for us. And then now, so it needs to be ethical to say that when we are aware somebody's a veteran, they're in the VIP club.
Yeah. And there is a piece of this too, where I think about, if you're hearing this message, you understand the issue, you understand that there's a problem here and that there are ways to make things better. But now that you understand there's an issue, now that you know that, you can't unknow that. You can't ignore, well, you can ignore what we're talking about, but I would sure hope that this hits home in some way, some fashion, in a way that inspires you, whoever you are listening to this, inspires you to actually, again, to do something. I think about, there's a song I hear on K-Love every so often about do something. It's a Matthew West song. If you haven't heard it before, go look it up. Go to YouTube, go find it, listen to it. And the message in that song is all about, Lord, it's basically speaking to God, saying, there's all these problems. There's all this bad stuff going on all around me, all around the world. There's all these things. Lord, why don't you do something? And then the song flips around and like God is speaking to you saying, I did do something. I created you. I created you to do something. And that's the whole premise of that song. And I love that message of, don't complain about what's going wrong. Do something. And again, when it comes to Project Die Hard, it could be do you have the money to donate to help make make all of this project, the actual physical project going on Forward Operating Base Rush? Can you financially help that? Do you have materials that could be donated to that? I'm thinking about, it's tax season, right? Tax write-offs, you get a refund perhaps. Would you be able to donate some of that back to this mission? I'm just trying to throw ideas out there because there's ways to help financially. There's also ways to help as a volunteer as well. Physically, can you go there and help out? Can you do something wherever you are? As simple as, again, there's the YouTube channel for Project Die Hard. Look it up, subscribe to it, share it out. Do you have social media with what you do personally, professionally? Do you have social media presence yourself? Share this out. If you're not sure what to share, there's all sorts of things that Brian posts on there that you can pick your favorite thing that you're seeing and share that. Talk to people. Talk amongst your friends, amongst your colleagues. Make an impact that way, because the only way this is going to grow is by sharing it. The last thing I want to see is for this to be the best kept secret out there. This should not be a secret that this organization exists. Project Die Hard is here for a reason. So, and again, what you do, it could be as simple as praying for the mission, praying for the success, and for impacting lives the way it's intended to. So there's all sorts of things that can happen here, and I guess, and that's why I'm here. I'm hoping to help get that message out there and to share it far and wide. Because again, teamwork makes that dream work. And sharing it out there is the only way we can grow what's happening. So I know we're coming up towards the end of our time here. I want to give Tim a chance to see if he has anything else on his mind to share with us again. Because Tim, we're really grateful that you've joined us tonight, and hope that you're hearing things that can inspire you to potentially share this in some way, shape, or form. And I know you've got a great heart. So I would love to hear what's on your mind and on your heart now.
Well, I just want to make something clear, that none of us is trying to say anything about the church. We all love the church. All of us do. And we're big time Christian. We love God. And Brian is the head of this forward operating base, FOB. And the message he's giving is, and the church will say, you should go to the veterans organizations. We can't help you here in this church. If I haven't made that clear, I'd like to make that clear. Sometimes the veterans organizations are the organizations that have to do the heavy lifting. But the church makes it clear that the church is not for you. And not all churches, again, I repeat, but the church is not here for you, Mr. Veteran. You're supposed to go to the veterans organizations. That's where you are supposed to be, not the church. And this has happened. And I don't know this for a fact, but I know that's what Brian is saying. Brian Gibson, you will find out that he's 100% is, and he's just there for the veteran. And he's not trying to hurt anybody. He's not trying to hurt the church. It's a very, very sensitive subject, but I think Brian is a paraphrase for Brian. There are instances when a military man, after being in battle in Iraq and Afghanistan, and walks into a church and he gets the cold shoulder, right? The soldier gets a cold shoulder. Can't even say it. So so that's a subject. We're not gonna fix it here, but we're identifying it, and we're making a case here. And all you need to know is this is a great organization to donate to. We're trying to build a foundation so that future generations of soldiers that come back from war and will be welcomed by the forward operating base with Brian Gibson. And regardless of what religion they are in, that's a welcoming place in McKenda, Illinois, that Brian is trying to build. So yeah, we all love the church. That's why we're saying, hey, take a step back and look and see what's going on. It's happening, and let's see what we can do about it, or at least talk about it, bring it up.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much, Tim, because you're right. And that's one of the premises that he operates on all the time, is that God will never leave the mission. That's easy for me to say. I think we're getting to that tongue-tied point of the evening here. I love this group. There are so many good things happening. I do want to see things continue in the right direction, and to me, right direction, in growth, in growth, and making that difference for people. Because I know, like he had said, like Brian said earlier in the show here, that there are some things that will be suspended for the moment until we can get finances in better order and be able to move things forward there, because you need the money to actually buy those breakfasts for the veterans, for those breakfast events that are taking place. If there's not money in hand to do it, it doesn't happen. So I'm going to straight up call out to say, hey, is there somebody listening that can make a donation specifically to keep that going? You're out there. I don't know who you are or where you are, but you're out there. So let's share this out so we can keep the progress and keep the programs moving forward here, so that we can make the difference for these veterans that really need what's there. And they deserve that honor and that ability to do that. So I'm here. I'm offering myself up to people to reach out to. Really easy. Susan@projectdiehard.org. Real simple. Susan@projectdiehard.org. Same with Kurt. Similar deal. Kurt@projectdiehard.org. We also are looking for guests to join us and contribute to this conversation that is happening on Monday nights here with the Project Die Hard Mission Monday update. And if you want to join us here on the program, we would love to have you. Email us directly or email monday@projectdiehard.org. And anything going to that account is specifically for this and for this purpose. And we will get back with you and get you in here so that you can join the conversation and share of yourself as well. So Kurt, last chance here for you. Any last thoughts to share before we close up for the night?
Yeah, I just want to thank all of our viewers that have been hearing us out, and just want to encourage everybody that, whatever our narrative, our conversation provides for you, please do, think about, getting into a conversation with others in your life, and kind of take this on as a ripple effect, domino effect, whatever you want to call it, that this keeps going out and around from you. Speaking to it in your own way. And thank you for what everybody out there does do, including watching and listening to the show.
Excellent. So I challenge everybody to go out and make a difference. Figure something out in the next 7 days, though, when you're coming back and hearing us again here next week, same time, same place here on the Mission Monday update, that you can think back on this past week and know that something you did made a difference. So that's my challenge. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us here. Again, Project Die Hard Mission Monday update. We are here every Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Central. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tim, for joining us. And as always,